Hello, class. Welcome to our class. Today we are going to look at factors influencing education systems in the world. Factors influencing education systems in the world. That is what we are going to look at. Factors influencing education systems in the world. Hoping that you are ready, uh, one of the purposes of comparative education is to develop general statements about the forces and factors that influence development of education systems. Yes, I can see. Yes, thank you for joining class. There are certain similarities among the factors that determine and shape systems of education to be the way they are in the continent of the world. Europe, for example, suffered a major division based on polarized ideologies, which involved Eastern political ideology, the so called communism or socialism, different from that of Western, the so called democrat or democratic. However, it has been common Roman Christian education, and that both have contemporarily shaped experience in industrial and society. Now, thank you for those ones who have been punctual in joining the class. I'm sure you missed one or two things, and I want you to bring you up to speed of what have already been said. It said that we are going to look at the factors influencing education systems in the world, and that is what we are doing. We are looking at factors that are influencing education systems in the world. And I've already said that one of the purposes of comparative education is to develop general statements about the forces and factors that influence the development of education systems. I've also said that there are certain similarities among the factors that determine and shape the systems of education to be the way they are in the continents of the world. I've given an example of Europe, which suffered a major division based on polarized ideologies, which involved Eastern political ideology, which is different from the Western, the so called democratic. I've also pointed out that it has common Roman Christian education, and that both have the contemporary shaped their experience in industry and society. Africa as a continent is characterized by common needs associated with underdevelopment and a shaped history of European colonization. North America shares a common heritage of democratic principles, while South America shares cohesion linked to cultural origin and similar kinds of socioeconomic development. Asia, however, has major cultural divisions, especially those related to religious obligations, and is also affected by different kinds of historical and external interventions. It has different levels of economic development, with some countries very poor and or while others very rich. So there are specific factors which determine and shape systems of education to be the way they are. These factors include and not limited to one, economic factors, two, sociocultural factors, three, political factors, four, climatic or geographical factors, five, colonialism, racism, of foreign domination. Or we also have number 6 as being religious factors. And lastly, but not least, we have the so-called political factors. Political factors. Very important. My dear friends, allow me deal with the first factor that I mentioned, and this is political factors. The level of economic development of our country, which is based on the level of industrialization, determines the decline or advancement of education. The indication depends on provision of education for all, which entails free and compulsory or universal primary education. For example, industrialized and highly urbanized countries have high income. These countries include Japan, China, US, Britain, France, Australia, Italy, and Germany. In these countries, universal free and compulsory education has been achieved. Secondary education is also free in some of the countries. The newly industrialized countries have middle level income. This includes Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Taiwan, and South Korea. Here, universal primary education is nearly achieved. Even in those countries where is universal free and compulsory primary education, problems of non-enrollment, school dropouts, and low completion rates are inevitable. On the other hand, in those countries where this policy has been achieved, I'm talking about the policy of compulsory primary education, has been achieved, especially in developed countries, there are strict prohibitions of non enrollment, school dropouts, and low completion rates, such that the parents of those pupils who do not enroll or drop out of school are charged accordingly in the law courts of that country. As a result, there are large numbers of enrollment in primary schools as well as high completion rates. Thank you very much, friends. Those of you who have kept on attending classes and keeping time, thank you very much. You are doing a good service to yourselves and also to your parents. Now, those who are just waiting to graduate, they are there. They are waiting to be calling me every now and then about their missing marks or missing cards, and yet they don't want to attend classes. What shall I do? Now, I want you to allow me to move to the second group of factors that affect or that influence the system or systems of education in the world. And this set or group of factors is referred to as social cultural factors. Social cultural factors. Yes, social cultural factors. School systems reflect the social patterns prevailing in any particular country. Education reforms reflect changing needs of and aspirations of a dynamic society. For example, after independence, most African countries had to Africanize their systems of education so as to meet the needs of African societies. Customs, traditions, beliefs, and local developments affect the education systems in a country. All these factors affect the curriculum and influence educational development. Some schools of thought are divided. That these factors, now this is what I want to say. When I talk about schools of thought, I'm talking about the scholars. Who are scholars? When I talk about scholars, these are people who are highly schooled. For example, university professors, these are scholars. So I'm saying that some schools of thought, when I talk about some schools of thought, I'm talking about these highly scholarly people. So some schools of thought have divided these factors into three categories. Which factors am I talking about? Social cultural factors. So social cultural factors have been divided by some schools of thought into three. Some of them being those universal things which all people in a country do the same way. These include speaking the same language, eating the same food, wearing the same clothes, and holding the same political and religious ideas. The second type of things are specialized of or specialities of a nation or the people, such as specialized vocational skills and training, which make for division of labor in a society and the accepted ideas about class and social positions within the culture. The third type of thing or things are the alternatives, which are those things about which individuals exercise their own personal or personal choice or choices, such as making use of inventions and the other new ways of doing things. Another aspect here is language. There has implication on education in terms of medium of instruction, depending on whether one or several languages are used in most of the communities. It has implications on the most or the cost of education system and national unity. For example, it is cheaper to train teachers with only one language as a medium of instruction compared to where more than one language is used. In Africa, it will be difficult and expensive because of many different languages that exist and all are used as mediums of instruction. In case a country has one language or an accepted language without intricate dialect, the organization of education system becomes quite simple. Hello, Wasilua.
Yes.
Kindly, I'm in class. We
Okay,
can talk
okay.
later on after
It's
8
understand.
p.m. I'm sorry, dear student, that was my master's student, and I think he wants to find out when we are going to have a class. So you just excuse me. The third, we were talking about languages, and I said that in Africa it would be difficult and expensive to use more than one language because there are very many mediums of instruction. In case a country has one language or accepted language without intricate dialect, the organization of education system becomes quite simple in that country. And this one, we can give an example of England and USA. In the countries where national unity is quite strong, the system of education is much affected even with the two or three languages that are spoken in that country. And a good example here is Switzerland, where three languages are spoken, and also in Wales, where two languages are spoken by masses. So, on the other hand, countries like India, where a good number of languages are spoken and written, the organization of a system or systems of schools become quite problematic. Similarly, in the case where different languages correspond to difference between national and semi-hostile groups, educational systems also become problematic when a number of dialects are spoken and written by the masses. It is also it is also so if the languages are quite complicated, and a good example is China. It takes long to learn such a language, and I can give you an example of India, where 14 main languages and hundreds of dialects and have been accepted. So illiteracy is quite high in such countries. So the British were able to deal with this problem of languages by using English as the main language of instruction. Even after independence, though efforts were being made by population in Hindu as a link language, this was not accepted by a good number of people in India. Certain state languages, such as Tamil, we have so many popular languages, or so many languages that are popular with the people, that they are reluctant to accept Hindi as the first language. So much so that the certain areas of English is perfectly or preferred in Hindi. In Canada, the province of Quebec uses French, while the other provinces use English as a medium of instruction. This can be traced through the historical factor, where those who selected the Quebec province were immigrants from France, while the other provinces were settled by people mostly from Britain and other countries of Europe. The same problem of language has also been evident in Cameroon. And you remember when some of you were presenting this work in class on last Wednesday, they talked of Anglophones and and which people? Let me see. That was who can remember whatever they said. They said that one core group was the Anglophones. They were preferred Anglophone. What about the other one? I want to see the first person to write. The other group was what? Anglophone and what? Come on, are you people in the class? Yes? Can anybody try? I'm surprised that none of you can recall this, surely. So we have said that the same problem of language has also been evident in Cameroon. The Western Cameroon uses English, while the Eastern Cameroon, it was said that they use French. I don't know why you people are not able to recall that. You can ask the group that was there. And that one tells me that none of the group members, those ones who presented last Wednesday, are in this class. Those ones are out. I think they are enjoying themselves. I don't know if they are drinking or selling whatever they are selling. I don't know because they are not there. So this was a result of the defeat of the Germany and the subsequent occupation of the colonies by the France and Britain. This problem has persisted even after independence, where people in the two regions have adamantly refused to accept the language used by the other region in the education system. Each group insists on theirs. So about that is all about socio-cultural factors. Okay, I don't want you people to get my photograph, and you know why. You know why. I don't want to say that I am still annoyed. I'm not still annoyed. I forgive you people, but I just decided to deny you of my photograph so that you don't misuse it. the way you did. So, political factors. We are still talking about factors that influence systems of education in the world, and this is the third group, and that is political factors. These or political factors influence the kind and amount of education given. This is because it determines the policies governing education in terms of curriculum offered and the type of education for masses. It also affects the existence of the democratic and undemocratic systems of education. Political regimes exist in different countries across the world, have also affected education systems. For example, socialism, communism regime exists in countries such as China, Afghanistan, and Cuba that have highly centralized systems of government that is authoritarian. The government control all aspects of education. The use of mass media in education to achieve ideological mobilization, like use of education system to socialize people as it was done in Tanzania, China, and Cuba. Well, on the other hand, parliamentary or capitalism regimes, which existed in countries such as USA and Britain, have made notable efforts to ensure democratic participation in education. They allow fair allocation of resources. They also have decentralized systems of education where federal government schools have little on education system. The political parties in power in these countries influence the allocation of educational materials or resources to different systems. Like the Labour Party in the UK or United Kingdom promoted the development and decentralization of education. In Kenya, the NARC government implemented the free primary education in 2003 and later subsidized secondary education in 2007. Friends, if you are not very tired, you will allow me to talk about the fourth group of factors that influence education systems in the world. And this set of groups is what we are referring to as climatic and geographical factors. The climatic and geographical factors may affect the school entering age. For example, areas which are too cold or have too long distance between home and school, children have to delay schooling. In the Arctic regions, such as Scandinavian countries, where temperatures are extremely cold, children of Eskimos have to wait until such a time when they are able to resist respiratory diseases such as pneumonia. Consequently, some countries in the northern temperature zones start their compulsory schools attendance 1 or 2 years later because of the severity of the climatic conditions. On the other hand, maritime climate influences education systems, especially when deciding on vocations. School take vacations during cold winter and also during the hot summers. This is particularly seen in North America and many countries in Europe. The hot climatic conditions experienced in arid and semi-arid areas of tropical zones influence activities in systems of education. However, learning takes place during morning hours when it is cool. At times, in the afternoon when it is hot, very little learning takes place. My friends from Turukana or Lokitang, Lodwar, can bear me witness that in their area, in most cases, learning takes place between 6 a.m. in the morning and 1 p.m. The geographical conditions of a place influence the distribution of population and the functions of systems of education in a country. For example, Australia has the second largest desert in the world. Consequently, the population is sparsely populated as compared to the densely populated urban areas. Therefore, Australia has two systems of education, one for the urban areas and the other one for rural areas. In urban areas, there are big and well equipped schools with adequate facilities. Thus, in Scandinavian countries, because of extreme temperatures, there are not instances of schools or early childhood education dependent or departments in some schools. This has also been the case with children in Norway and other Scandinavian countries, where children start schooling at the age of 7. On the other hand, the long distance between the school and home makes pupils tired and weak. Thus, they have to wait until they attain an age where they are strong enough to walk long distances to and from school. The climate will also affect education or educational year calendar. For example, in northeastern Kenya, I've talked about northeastern Kenya and also parts of Turkana County. Children start their programs very early in the morning when the temperatures are conducive for study. Similarly, hot weather will affect the architect designs and structures of schools. This adds to the cost of building these structures if they are in cold climatic conditions where heating is required. The long distance between home and school will determine the existence of either day or boarding schools. Like if the distance is long, children cannot travel to and from school every day, such that the boarding schools will be preferred over the day schools. The distance as well affect attendance of school by pupils and also affect safety, especially of the girls. In areas where there are distinct seasons of winter and summer, the school holidays are synchronized such that the holidays will fall during the winter. In Kenya, the holidays have been determined by seasons, whereby, in order to reduce dropouts during seasons, the April holidays corresponds with the season in most parts of the country. Qualified teachers and administrative personnel in rural areas. Schools are small with one teacher teaching up to 40 students or pupils. Farms are far from nearest schools, and daily attendance of schools is very difficult. It is difficult for the families to educate their children. The central government is responsible for the administration and financing of education. The government also provides the means and organization of correspondence, tuition, and traveling of teachers. Friends, we have taken about 30 minutes, and I think that is enough. I don't want to be accused by some of you that the lesson normally take long. There is this lady who comes to class, who normally comes to class early. Is she there? I don't know why I can't see her. There's a lady who has been coming to class early before anybody else. Where is she? What's happened? What's happened? I've not seen her. Oh, she's there. Okay. Sufena Watibori. Yes, you are there. I was wondering what would have happened somewhere, but you are there. So that is okay. Um, I'm not going to give you any question today, and I'll also communicate something about tomorrow. So you will liaise with both James and Aisha. I think we shall reason out with them and see something about tomorrow. So I don't want to say I'll have to consult them first before we communicate to you people. So I'll always communicate to you through them. Um, just as I said, quite a number of people are not attending classes. And even after giving them time, they have not even visited those videos, especially the one today is on Tuesday, the one that we did on Saturday and also on Sunday. Very few people have visited those ones. I don't know if they have challenges or they are just tired. Are they tired of attending classes? I don't know. But I have a problem with them. Mm, I don't know what I can say about it, but generally attendance is very poor. So you will talk to them. Talk to them. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything, but I'm really following up. Those guys who are not attending class, what can we say? It's very, very wrong. So Jacqueline Chimtai, today you are the first one. Elizabeth Namusasi, I told you you are the second one. We had Ruto, Ian, Rotich, Lagat, Trufena, Victor Kinyua, Hilary Kosgei, Sheila, Ombima, Derek, Ambrose, John, Saida, Angela, Angela and Angela. We had Kipkemoi, Edgar, Masi Chemtai, Dorian, Kanyeri, Sonia Vela, mm, Cherono, Haba, Nixon, Vincent Kiplagat, Stephen, Alvin, Masi Chepkemoi, Nathan Mutai, Mbone, Ngetich, Beatrice Chepkoech, Olive. That is okay. That is okay. I want to give you time to go and prepare your supper, and I'll give you further communication through your class reps. Have a good evening.